Hey guys, Spencer here and welcome back to another Realm of the Mad God video. Today, Florian, Jinli and I are going to be explaining the new Bard class pretty in depth, since it got reworked from what most people remember on testing. There's some pretty cool Bard UTs releasing with this update. We've got the Pungi for mobility, the Concertina for DPS, and the Requiem for group survivability. Today we're going to go over all of these and show you some footage. Florian's going to be going over the reworked and brand new abilities more in depth and telling you where to get them. And after that, Jinli's going to give you some insight into possible loadouts for some of the less experienced players who aren't as well versed in item stats and their uses. So without further ado, here's my good mate, Florian.
Alright, now let's get to the abilities. Every loot gives Inspire, which flat out increases yours and other players' range by 1.25 times or 25%. This means that Priest's weapon range would increase from 9 to 11.25. In a more relevant case, the Cutlass, the highest DPS single shot sword, would have the same range as the Ancient Stone Sword, which is really strong. While this is not a clear damage boost, it will allow players to hit enemies more easily and play safer. Starting from tier 3, it also gives you defense on use and a speed bonus on equip. Tier 3 gives 4 defense for 2.5 seconds and 1 speed on equip. It increases every tier by 2 defense, 1 speed and 0.5 seconds of duration, maxing out at tier 6 with 10 defense for 4 seconds on use and 4 speed. On top of that, the tier 6 ability also gives you a maximum of 20 health and 20 mana. Next we have the untiered abilities. Snakejam Mapungi drops from a snake pit. It's the Bard's rushing ability. It gives you 8 defense for 2.5 seconds, 7 speed on equip, and on use, speedy for 4 seconds. While this comes with a 1 second cooldown after the ability has run out, it overall gives you the ability to rush dungeons more efficiently and get out of bad situations a lot easier. The Wavecrest Concretina drops from the Deadwater Docks. It is purely offensive and requires you to be very close to enemies to get the maximum efficiency, but the damage it does is quite a lot. It throws a large parrot at your target, damaging it. This parrot is being thrown at the enemy like a trap or poison on the spot you hover your mouse on. Upon shooting, there is a 5% chance for a fighting parrot to spawn. The parrot circles around you for 3 seconds, meaning that if you play, per example, 1000 shots, you will damage enemies that get close to you very quickly, even more with a berserk buff. It does 200 armor piercing damage within 2 squares of every 0.4 seconds, resulting in 500 DPS per parrot. On top of that, it also gives you 4 attack and 4 dexterity to increase your damage by a bit. It also inspires you for 4 seconds, like all the other UTs. Next, we have the Pharaoh's Requiem. It is a very unique item unlike anything we've ever seen on Realm. The Pharaoh's Requiem drops from Nut in Tomb of Ancients. Its usage summons a Pharaoh's Mask that weakens enemies around you every second for a duration of 3 seconds. Weaken reduces the damage done from enemies that are affected by 10%. The mask doesn't move with you, but stays on a spot you summoned it. This is especially useful for enemies like, for example, Crusade and Lost Halls that follow you. If you receive 50 damage or more while having this UT equipped, your defense gets doubled for 3 seconds, and on top of that, it also weakens enemies in a considerable range of 5 squares, which will help and increase the survivability of not only you, but also the entire group of players around. Especially in endgame dungeons, this is a very useful ability. This also comes with a cooldown of 15 seconds, but still is very useful and increases your survivability in extreme circumstances by a great degree. On top of that, it also gives you a slight boost of 4 defense and 4 vitality.
Alrighty, thanks so much Florian. Guys, don't forget to check out Flo's channel. The link will be down below in the description. Nut dropping a good white bag item is actually going to be amazing. I can't wait to get that. Okay, so now Jinli is going to go over the Bard item sets and tell everyone what he thinks would work well on the class. Jinli?
Alright, so let's get into the recommended equipment for playing the Bard. Since it's a bow-wielding class that dons a robe instead of your standard light armor, it's right to assume that we are going to be paying more attention to the defense of the Bard, or rather lack thereof. Fortunately, due to the loot, you can offset that weakness reasonably so, and you have quite the assortment of weapons and robes to choose from, starting with a standard tier 12 bow of Covert Havens. Never a bad choice to use since the loot can enhance its already good area coverage, boosting your range from 7 to 8.5, almost as high as a wand. Then we have the Coral Bow, which has the same purpose as a Covert, just with a slightly narrower and more accurate angle. While Coral is universally a great bow to use, I actually do not think it benefits the Bard all too much, since the Inspire buff extends your attack range but does not narrow down the spread of the shots. So, Korobow's mid-range strength is not enhanced here at all. Not a bad choice, mind you, but there are just better options for the class. On the other hand, Doombow, Deathless Crossbow, Brigidia, and Thousand Shot are phenomenal choices on the Bard, since their straight shots make it much easier for you to snipe enemies through your enhanced range. The last two bows to talk about are the Void and Leaf bows. While they have an irregular shot pattern, the loot can be beneficial on both, since like the Deathless Crossbow, extending the Void bow's range from 5.6 to 7, which puts it on par with the tiered bows, makes the weapon much safer to use. The Leaf bow doesn't have nearly as consistent of a shot pattern, but the bonus to your speed can allow you to quickly reposition. That benefit is also given to archers and huntresses, but I think it actually has a more profound impact on the Bard. As for the robes, you can either choose to employ a defensive build to widen your safety margins, since bards are conceptually a support class, or you can put your extended range to use by itemizing full offense. Unlike the priest, the bard does do decent amounts of damage. The loots don't have a whiz mod attached to them, so even though bards have a high max wisdom of 75, the robes that provide wisdom, which are a lot of them, aren't really that great on this class. They do have a lower attack stat than huntresses and archers, but they come with a much higher dexterity stat of 70 versus the archers and huntresses' 50. Best robes to go for defense would be the Soulless Robe and Shendit of Geb, both providing a solid boost of 15 defense and some health to go along with it. You could also just go for the Robe of the Star Mother, since that nets 15 defense as well, but it provides no health, though the 5 attack would be worth consideration if you want to go for a middle ground. As for offense, you got 2 robes, your Water Dragon Silk Robe, which gives a fantastic 6 attack and 6 speed for mobility. The other one is of course the Anointed Robe, which sports the highest offensive boost of 4 attack and 3 dex. Either one works great. Lastly, we have accessories. Once again, defense or offense, since you need not worry about increasing your mana. Ring of Decades, arguably the best defensive ring in the game. As for offense, you have a lot to shop for. You have Ring of the Pyramid and Bracer of the Guardian if you want to get a hybrid mix of protection and power. If you want the raw damage, we got Omni, Crown, or Esben's Wedding Ring. Of course, those rings with the exception of Pyramid and Decades are not very easy to get, especially for newer and mid-level players. So if you're looking for a more budget-friendly build, Experimental Ring from the Mad Lab, never a bad choice. The Ring of Pure Wishes from Candyline Hunting Grounds, if you can find one. Sometimes in certain servers like the US East 2 or US South, some random guy pops a Candyline Hunting Ground key. You can just go into that one and see if you can farm up a ring. For offense, try your hand on the Captain's Ring from Davy Jones' Locker. The main purpose of the Bard is to decide if you want to serve as more of a safe contributor to your team, or if you feel like capitalizing on your extended range for yourself and doing some big damage.
Thanks a bunch, Jinli. I don't know about you guys, but I wouldn't be caught dead wearing a captain's ring on any of my characters. However, Jinli does have some great info and insights into the class, so make sure to check out his channel. Link in the description. Okay guys, that just about does it for this Bard overview, our first official Deca sponsored video. I hope you guys enjoy the class just as much as I do, and I can't wait to see you all buffing my range by 25% in the near future. My name's Spencer, you have a good one.